Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our series looking at Transformers movies, Session 7, the Avatar Talk.
White savior or shut the fuck up.
Hell yeah. So, I'm joined again by my co host Tommy,
Yo.
and I am Greg. And yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the seventh film in the Transformers series. Again, this is like a spin off film. We can take a look at the title right here. Instant Family, a Transformers side story, a Tusk film, just to remind you guys. This is coming after Love, Simon, the spin off film that told us what happened after Josh Duhamel's character, Colonel Lennox, went into retirement, or at least was like on a leave. And sort of reuniting with his family, and now we get to find out what happened to Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade Yeager, from Transformers 4 and 5, and Isabella Merce's character, Isabella, from Transformers 5.
Cool.
Yeah, so again, this is sort of a film we didn't really see coming in this series. Again, they didn't really market it as a Transformers movie. They just kind of put it out there as like a general family comedy. Again, like there's no robot characters in the film again. There's no real references to like the Transformers part of the series, but the series never really focused on the robots that much, anyways, so that's okay. Um, but yeah, it's sort of confusing setup at first, but then you just kind of get into it as like a general family comedy if you enjoy family comedies. Which, to be fair, if you like the Transformers movies, you probably enjoy family comedies. But yes, this came out a couple months after Love, Simon, right before Bumblebee, the final spin-off film we'll be looking at for this series until we get into the new mainline film, uh, Transformers: Rise of the Beast, which is fast approaching. Tommy, do you want to read the plot synopsis?
All right. Isabel and Kate have been forced into witness protection after the events of the last night and must now pretend as if they don't know each other in order to become an official family in the eyes of the U.S. government.
Yeah, so this one isn't as deep with the lore as Love, Simon is, I would say, but like the general connection is just that we follow Isabella now going under the name Lizzie, and then we follow Cade who's now going under the name Pete as they sort of just try to reacclimate to regular society um, as these sort of new personas and just trying to settle down, have a normal life. But they obviously have to go through this whole adoption. I was not say fake adoption, it's official, but like forced adoption situation um, obviously. Tommy, do you want to read the two paragraphs here?
In the last night, Isabella was an orphan whose parents were killed by the Decepticon rocket. She meets Kate, and the two form a father-daughter relationship for about 45 seconds of the film. But after the collision of Earth and Cybertron, the two must enter witness protection, but are trying to hatch a scheme so they can become a proper family unit, along with the wife Ellie and two other kids, Lita and Juan.
Yeah, so if anybody remembers from the last night, Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade, his daughter had gone off to college. He still, had real instincts for being a father. He sort of takes in this girl and starts to take care of her along with the other Autobots. And now he's like, well, I think I could still take care of her and, we could become a proper family. So why don't we do that? But they have to go through this whole scheme, obviously, because you can't just take in this random girl off the street. That would be weird.
Mm.
All right. Um, and then, yeah, most people obviously watch the film not thinking about the franchise context. They just sort of see it as like a standalone movie for some reason. So just like if you're watching
So
the film,
weird.
I know I don't get it either. It's like, come on, do your homework. Like you guys keep up with those Marvel films, you can't keep up with the Transformers continuity. Like, come on, it's
Yeah.
like eight films versus like 30 MCU films. It's pretty easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're just following the film on its own, it mainly plays as just like um, it's not a blended family because it's not Ellie and Peter adopting, but Pete and Ellie Wagner are a married couple who flip houses for a living, and they decide they're ready to adopt a child. But they get the attention of this girl Lizzie, played by Isabella Merced, and she gets their attention at a adoption meet and greet, and then they find out that she comes with these two younger siblings as well, and so they have to decide can they handle all three of these kids, and hijinks ensue. Just to sort of fill in some other drama points too. Lita and Juan her siblings Lita and Juan are pretty open to the adoption. Obviously they have their own struggles as kids, but Isabel Merced is like her character Lizzie. She's very against it for the most part because she wants to be reunited with with their biological mother, and so it sort of becomes this battle between. I shouldn't say battle, but they're trying to win Lizzie's affection, respect, so they can properly adopt them because their biological mom, is struggling with drug addiction and she's not able to raise the kids properly. She's always in rehab. Um, So yeah, that's sort of the tension of the film. So we're gonna do things a little differently this time. I think we're going to actually, Tommy. Let's before we get into our general thoughts on the film, why don't we just talk about like when we first saw it and like what our original reactions were, if we can recall them.
Oh God, I think I saw it at like an 11 a.m. showing to the movie, like cheap showing. I just watched it just because it looked good in the
Yeah,
theaters.
I must confess
So,
again, I didn't see this one in the theater either, and I apologize. I really should have gone to all these movies, but I just wasn't. You know, to be fair, I still haven't seen Dark in the Moon in the theater, so it's not like I'm always against these spin-off films. But did not see this one. Waited for it to come out on Blu-ray to rent it. Enjoyed it right away. Um, Part of me, we'll get into that, but but yeah, just saw it. I was like, yeah, that was a good Transformers movie. Probably should have saw it in the theater. Whoops. Um, and then yeah, just what. And so I guess I'm gonna out you, Tommy, a little bit. Sorry, Tommy. That you did not rewatch it for this review just because you ran out of time, and that's totally fine. I didn't rewatch the main line Transformers movies for these reviews, but that's because I can tell you every line from them word for word. So you know.
yeah,
But
I've seen it enough times. I was fine with not. I got too busy. Is the place I work just keeps giving me money, so I have to keep working with them.
that's totally fair enough. But just super general, maybe not super general. Let's just talk a little bit about the film. Have a real discussion about it. Do you want to go first?
Oh sure, no, I like this movie a lot. I think it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's all cutes and cuddles, and I think it really has honest discussions about what it means to like what it really does mean to adopt kids, being a foster like run be foster parents. It talks about the stigma of being a foster parent versus the reality of being a foster parent. I think it's very good. It kind of runs a little too long and it kind of starts off a little slow. Like,
Welcome to Transformers movies.
oh yeah, no, it takes like about half an hour to get to the meat and potatoes of it, but once it gets there, it goes and it's very much a cuddles and fluff kind of movie, but in a very good way, is what I can kind of call it.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
we're gonna get into this in the specific discussion questions I have in the next few slides. Um, but it does return us, I think, to that. I guess. Well, I'll save that for later. I'll save that for the specific slides. But yeah, in general, I agree with you. Very easy to watch movie. I'm trying. It's funny because it's like this and Love Simon both have scenes where it's like super cringy and like you're kind of slapping your forehead, going, "Oh my God, make it stop!" Like the social situations are too painful. I think this one's like a little easier for me to get through, just in terms of enjoying it. But I think I enjoyed. I think I respected Love Simon more rewatching that back to back with this. I think I actually did watch them like double feature basically. I just watched them one after the other. Um, I
That's a
sort
good
of
one.
I sort of respect watching. I sort of respect Love Simon a little bit more rewatching it, just the emotional complexity of it. Where this, it's like, I don't know. There's something about it that was a little too simple this time. I still enjoyed it a lot. Everyone's really charming in it. Mark Wahlberg, I guess he's charming. He is so bad in this film. Like he's so bad in every movie. I think he's only given good performances with Michael Bay, honestly. Like Pain and Gain, obviously, like that's a really great performance. And then I think he's good in the Transformers movies he's in, but like it's not it's not a very deep or layered performance. In this, what is with his acting instincts? He just gives such bizarre line readings on things, and like he almost doesn't know what's going on. He works. He has a great dad energy and everything that he's a dad in, basically. Like in this movie, when he's acting as a parent, I think he does a great job, and it's like very earnest and likable. But like other scenes in this movie, I'm just like, what is with this delivery? um, the scene that always jumps to mind is when him and his wife decide to they go to like the presentation about what it takes to become a foster parent or eventually adopt a kid, and they're like in the car. He's like high fiving all the other parents that were there or potential parents that were there, and he's like, "Yeah, guys, this is great." And then he gets in the car, and Ellie's like a little less into the idea, and he's like super pumped up about it, and he's just like, what? Like he gives this what from the happening in that moment. It's just like, what are you doing? What is this performance? Um, and I would say he kind of has that throughout, like especially when he talks to when he's talking to the adoption counselors, or sorry, whatever they're called, and like the way he interacts with them. It's
Social
the way he,
services,
oh,
social workers.
oh, they social workers. Okay, my bad. No,
Yes.
just the way he talks to adults. It's so bizarre. But the way he talks to children, I feel like really is effective and works. And I don't know if there is a difference with the performance or if I'm just reading it differently depending on how he's interacting with people based on their age. But yeah, there's something about Mark Wahlberg's acting in everything. Like, I think like The Departed, I think he's bad in that. I just think he's one note, doesn't know how to give range in that performance. And then Boogie Nights, he's kind of playing a dumb character anyways, so I guess it kind of works. But he just has this one awkward performance that he always gives. Except I think in the Michael Bay movies he's able to get a little more range out of it, which is funny. I don't know if Michael Bay knows what buttons to push or what's going on there. But this is directed by Sean Anders. It's just like every time I see Mark Wahlberg in something that isn't Michael Bay, he looks like he's so weird in it. Anyways, that's my Mark Wahlberg, man. I've been waiting to get to that one because it took a non-Michael Bay directed film to really get to that point. Um, but Yeah, I think honestly, maybe I am doing this in the wrong order. Maybe we should have talked about the debates of the film first before I really give my thoughts on it. I think it's an easy film to watch for sure. Um, I think there's less complexity to this film than in like Revenge of the Fallen or Love, Simon. I kind of put this on the same level as like Age of Extinction in terms of like the enjoyment factor and the fact that it's talking about race the way that it's talking about it. But I think Revenge of the Fall or Age of Extinction is like more interesting in its setup and the way it tells the story. Where this, it's like it's very straightforward. There's nothing like emotionally complex about this, to a fault at certain points, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, do you want to get into the discussion questions, and then maybe we can kind of return to the broad discussion of what we just think of the film?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
It's our video. We can do what we want.
Yeah, so I really only have one thing to talk about in this film, and it encompasses a couple slides, but like one specific issue, because again, I think the film is generally pretty simple. So maybe we should talk about this one complex issue it brings up is the avatar problem, as Mark Wahlberg puts it in the scene with the two social workers. Um, there's the crucial aspect of the scene is that Wahlberg brings up. By the way, is it a problem? And then the social workers go, played by Octavia Spencer and Tig Notaro, just ask the what, and he just says, "Oh, taking in a couple white people taking in a couple Latin kids. Is it like the Avatar problem, like the white savior thing?" And then they look at him, and Tig Notaro just responds, uh, "Listen, we." I'll just oh God, I incompleted the line. Sorry, the line's incomplete here. She responds, "We need every kind of parent, but if it makes you, oh no, she says, I appreciate your cultural sensitivity, uh, but we have every kid of color in the system. We have every parent of color, just not enough." So she's sort of saying like, I don't care about this white savior issue. Just take these damn kids if you're able to, if you're willing to love them. Um,
Mhm.
and then, Tommy, do you want to read the first paragraph?
Okay, a debate brought up in Instant Family is one that could be read into an Age of Extinction. That is the role of a white savior.
Go ahead.
You could read it. Okay, you could read Age of Extinction as an excusal of the white savior trope, showing how the motivation and position of the white savior of the film, Tess and Cade, aren't something to be wary of, but instead something to just accept for the sake of the help that they can offer. In Instant Family, Cade, now going by Pete, is put in a similar position where he and his wife Ellie are trying to save a minority group from a situation that is making it hard for them to survive. My apologies.
No, you're good. Yeah, so that's sort of the context, and then the moral question we could be asking ourselves with these two films, Age of Extinction and Instant Family, are what are the costs of people for majority groups stepping in to save those who are part of minority groups who are struggling to survive? In Age of Extinction, it's the Autobots. In Instant Family, it's a group of Latin kids, as Wahlberg puts it in the film, Latin siblings. And then, what can be lost in these scenarios: cultural identity, personal agency, family preservation. I put this one in quotations because that's actually called out in the film. The main conflict towards the third act becomes their the kid's birth mother shows up again out of rehab, trying to gain custody of the kids again, and sorry, but the Wahlberg and Ellie characters aren't comfortable with her, and they don't think that she'll do a good job raising them as good as they will do, and then also they just love the kids and don't want to give them up at this point. They don't want to lose the connection they've made with these kids. And yeah, it's just I think the question is it right for the film to be portraying it this way, as showing like the white people are in the better position? Because it's just, in terms of representation, that's what the film's showing, right? Is that these two, the white parents can take care of these kids, the kids, Latina mom cannot, and not to say that the film is saying that they never could. It's just that that's sort of what we're being shown, and the film does feel like it's just saying that things like family preservation shouldn't matter in the situation. We should just, it's same as Age of Extinction. I think it should just be, hey, let's just accept the white people's power and the white people's ability to solve these problems. Tommy, did you want to respond yet, or should we look at the last slide first?
Let's look at the last slide first.
It's just a counterexample of, should we put the cultural sensitivity aside, or should we just do what we think is right to help the most people? Like, don't worry about these issues, is essentially what I kind of feel like the film's saying a little bit. Although there's aspects of, like, Lizzie's teaching Pete at the end of the movie how to speak Spanish, and that's kind of it. That's like the only time their culture comes in.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, their culture doesn't really come into the family that much, unfortunately. And they make fun of, like, the white people's perspective on it, like the way that they're, I think it's Allie's mom, right, is trying to pronounce J's. So you're Juan, and that means you're Hawake, as opposed to Jacob. it's Hawake, and yeah, it's a funny scene. Yes, and it is weird. Yeah, they do a blackface joke with the mom, which is weird. Which is fine, but it's a little amusing.
Yeah, it's the chick from Airplane, which is just she has great comedic timing in this movie.
No, yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's just funny. Tommy, go ahead and give your response to.
Oh yes, the white guy giving the response to these scenarios. I think
it's a white guy franchise. It's okay to respond.
Oh, okay, that's good. No, I sort of. They kind of address it in the movie that it's not really applicable in the situation, because at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we got more kids in the system than parents in the system. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. And at the end, its problem is Avatar's not really the most applicable movie to put.
Yeah, I thought that was a super lame example. I don't know if they picked it just because it was a popular one, but like, dude, Dances with Wolves, like the movie's Avatar's ripping off. Frankly, could have gone Dances with Wolves. Could have gone. Does Pocahontas really fall on that? I feel like John Smith just kind of like is passed out half of that movie.
I mean, yeah, but no, clearly The Blind Side is where they really wanted to go with it, but unfortunately they already made a Blind Side joke in the movie, so they can't repeat Blind Side again.
Yes.
So it's sort of like it's sort of like, okay, well then, Avatar came out the same year, we can just say Avatar, that had the same criticisms, but it's like.
What do you mean the same year?
Yeah, Avatar and Blind Side came out the same year.
Oh, I thought you meant this. They're like 10 years apart.
No. Avatar and Blind Side were both Best Picture nominations that got basically criticized for the same problem. Mm-hmm. And does this movie really get criticized for the whole white savior trope, other than what we're doing now?
I don't think it's popular enough to get it. But regardless, it's trying to call it out. It's trying to beat us to the punch on it.
Oh yeah, no, it's sort of like, okay, we're gonna do this like little cliched thing where it's like, I mean, really, they're only doing the white thing with the Latino kids because Sean Anders did this in real life.
Yeah,
And
this
that's
is
all
an
he's trying to do.
autobiographical film.
He's just trying to pull this from real life. So I don't even think he's thinking about that. So you
But
could say,
he literally is
is
thinking
Sean?
that though. What he would right? I mean,
He's
I don't
sort of
know.
half.
Yeah,
He's bringing it to the table, and then he's half thinking about it, and then he's sort of like, "But don't worry about that. This is really the story we're trying to tell, and we don't. We really need to worry about that at all."
oh, sure, he could be dismissing it, but I'm just saying the film is showing it at least knows that this discussion could be brought up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's something I love. I don't know if I made this clear in our review. We did it so long ago, but that's something I do love in Age of Extinction is that it excuses that issue. I think in a very powerful way, where it's just saying, just well, okay, sorry, I shouldn't give it credit that it's actually saying this directly. I can read. I feel like I can read it as just it's confidently saying, stop worrying about that kind of thing. Just do something that will help. Just do something that will help the situation. Don't worry about well, I look bad for trying to step in and help. Um, where this one, they're trying to say the same thing. I think with the aspect of the mother, I get a little uncomfortable with it, of like showing that the mom is just someone who's incapable of it. I think what they save it a little bit, honestly, with making Lizzie the person who's really like um, trying to convince the mom to take custody of them again. Like the mom knows that she can't handle it, and if Lizzie wasn't influencing her, she would just say like, no, I'm not able to handle this right now. They should stay with Pete and Ellie. But because if it was all the mom like trying to just take the kids, um, it would make the whole situation just really uncomfortable and look bad. But I think the fact that it's a daughter just trying to have preserve her family and keep her mom, I think that makes it more sympathetic and um, reasonable the situation and like not as offensive. Um, but I don't know. There was something about it that like kind of rubbed me the wrong way again this time around. Even though I still like the movie, I still enjoy it. I'm saying I'll give Love Simon a little more like credit for being more nuanced and thoughtful about this stuff. That's all.
Yeah. No, this is a really a snuggles and hugs movie, and it brings a couple stuff in, but it's more of like, we'll have you laugh at this scene, we'll have you cry at this scene. Don't think about it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is interesting. And if the film, literally the film is propaganda to adopt, because the film ends with the credits of like, if you're interested in adopting, you can go to this website right now. I don't know. That's not the worst. That's definitely not the worst message you could have.
Yeah, no, not terrible. It's just like
It's a
they make it look hard, so at least people aren't given a false narrative, if
Yes,
that
yes. I think
helps.
that's key. Yeah, that they do show the hardships of this. Um, it's not like a because you definitely don't want the wrong people adopting, or even playing
Oh yeah,
foster parent. And yeah, and it's
you
still
may have to spill ketchup on your kids, so
and it's a step up from Dark of the Moon's message of shoot anyone who threatens America's security in the face. Yeah, so I think that's the interesting thing about the movie. Overall, it's an easy film to watch. It's got lots of likable performances. Um, I think there's a more nuanced discussion to be had to have that the film isn't necessarily inviting us to have, but you could definitely have it. Just looking at the film critically, the kids are freaking adorable. Um,
oh yeah.
I will say, like Lita's performance probably isn't good. Like it's probably flat, but like I don't know, she always gets me to laugh. like, um,
With the
like
dolls in the beginning where she's
or like kiss. Yeah, God, the doll scene in the beginning when she's swearing at her dolls when they're trying to play restaurant together. I don't know if it makes me a bad person, but I just love the scene where like it's their last night together because they're gonna go live with their mom the next day.
and then
And
she's
she's
like,
like, I just don't want to say anything, and then she just leaves the table, and you don't see her face, but you just hear her like crying. It's really funny. Um, no, yeah, all that stuff works. So yeah, and then we got one more film after this. Yeah, pretty breezy discussion compared to the other films, but I do think this is probably one of the most simple ones uh, in the franchise for sure.
"Oh yeah,
Um,
go watch it. It's cute." That's what I'll say.
got one more film before Rise of the Beasts, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. You need to rewatch this one. I demand it. You can't skip
Oh no,
rewatching this one.
I'll rewatch. I have to rewatch Bumblebee. I have to.
Okay, good. I was like, okay, when was the last time you saw it?
I think it was. It either was during lockdown or it was like summer 2019 when it first came out on DVD.
And we'll be looking at Bumblebee. I think with Queer Theory, I watched it. I took notes on how we could do a queer reading on it. I think it's our best bet to make an interesting show. So you will see us be doing that.
Okay.
All right. I will see you then.
Cool.